So you have to control that. You have to make orders from top to the bottom. That is said to be the scalar chain. Next is the order. Organizational order for materials and personnel is essential. The right materials and right employees are necessary for each organizational function and activity. So you have to place a right person in a right position, and also you have to place a right material for your production. So order, there has to be a order persist in that, right? Next is the equity. So in organization, equity is a combination of kindliness and justice. So you have to make things that your low order employee have faith in your organization. So they have to think it's our own organization. So that faith you have to create through equity, right? Next is stability of tenure of person. This is very much important. After handling all these 11 items, but the people working in the organization within 6 months, 4 months, less than 1 year, they are getting out of the organization and going somewhere else means all this work which you have created, all these principles you have employed to an employee will be useless. So you have to make a stability of tenure of personnel. At least they have to stay in the organization for some period of time. To attain the maximum productivity of personnel, stable workforce is needed. Right. So you cannot change frequently your employees. So then you have to make again a training. You have to give them all these workshops to make them understand what is going inside the organization. Again, they are getting out of the organization means if your new employee comes, you are going to do again the same procedure. It will create wastage of resources. 13 is the initiative, thinking out of a plan and ensuring its success is an extremely strong motivator. Zeal, energy, and initiative are desired at all levels of the organization ladder. So most of the organizations, what we have seen is the decision makers will always be the top level managers. All the initiatives, all the new thinkings comes from that group only. But even to the next level, to the next level, to the bottom level, there might be an employee who knows very well about the process. They can also simplify some of the process through initiatives, through innovative thinking, right? That has to be appreciated, that has to be taken, right? Not depends on the levels of the employee. You have to give appreciation whenever there is a idea, whenever there is a new process innovation emerges from any level of the organization, you have to appreciate, you have to take that into the process. 14 is the esprit de corps. I have already told you Henry Foyle is a French engineer, right? So esprit de corps is nothing but a French word. What it means is team spirit, teamwork, right? Teamwork is fundamentally important to an organization. So individual efforts is better than collective. Yes, silent, make it silent. Teamwork is fundamentally important to an organization. Working teams and extensive face-to-face verbal communication encourages teamwork. But now it has been happening through digital world, right? So there will be no direct meeting. There will be no direct communication. So all that we are doing through digital via. Many of the organizations still going on work from home. Right. There are a number of studies have been carried out to find out the effectiveness of work from home, productivity of work from home, employee attitude after work from home. Right. So Esprit de Crops talks about teamwork. Teamwork will come only when you have interpersonal communication, right? Face-to-face communication. So these are all the important 14 principles you have to adopt in your organization to make more productivity by using less resources effectively and efficiently according to Henry Foyle, right? Still there are many companies which are using some of these principles, not all of these, for their success. So there are general principles of management which has been given here. Yes, who is that? See, all of you please mute your. Yes, thank you. So including these principles of management, there are some of the other general principles, right? Like planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, and directing. This we have already seen from the functions of management, managers, right? So I'll cut it through and go to the next topic on scientific management. F.W. Taylor, F.W. Taylor, Frederick Taylor, Frederick W. Taylor is often called as the father of scientific management, right? So sometimes the question will be asked like this: write about scientific management, right? Or theory based upon Frederick W. Taylor. So you have to write scientific management. So Frederick Taylor is often called as the father of scientific management. Taylor believed that organizations should study tasks and develop precise procedure. So most of the theory based upon F.W. Taylor is on based upon the task which is going to happen in an organization, right? So task and how to simplify the task, how to give work to the employee. All these have been based upon this F.W. Taylor. Scientific management is a classical approach that emphasizes the scientific study of work methods to improve efficiency of work. So here he mainly concentrates only on improving the efficiency of work. He will not, or a disadvantage from here is he will not concentrate on the worker's point of view, right? Always on the work point of view, how you have to get the work, how you have to get the work from the employees. That is what the scientific management talks about. So among all the contributors to the school of thought, the contribution of Taylor is thought to be the most important. So scientific management focused on the productivity of individuals. So here he always thinks of the productivity. The classical administrative approach concentrates on the total organization, right? That we'll see in the later. So the emphasis is on the development of managerial principles rather than work methods. So he has telling here on scientific management is determining the best way to do each job. So here he always thinks on how to complete the task effectively and efficiently. So the first thought what he exposes is determining the best way to do each job. So you have to find out the best possible way of completing a job. It is not completing simply completing a job. So you have to find out best possible way. What it means is you have to use less time and less resources, and the productivity will be more. So manager sets the best way out and encourages employees determination to do that. That is the best possible way of doing a job. Selecting the first class men to do each job, like first class education, right? For all the recruitment, most of the IT companies, they are selecting first class to appear for the examination, to appear for the recruitment itself. Likewise, he has given this earlier in 1930s itself. So selecting the first class men. So during your selection itself, you have to find out the most eligible person get into the job. So efficiency of the employee is the ultimate target for maintaining workflow. So you have to select first class men to do the job. First is the best possible way to do job. Next is the whom have to do that. First class men can able to do the best possible way of completing a job, right? Next is paying per piece. It is not depends on the monthly salary. When whether you are working or not, whether you are completing the target or not, you will be get paid a certain amount of money for every year. You will be getting an increment without looking into your performance. But what he instructs is the pay based upon the work what he is doing, right? So pay per piece. So if you do 50 piece per day, pay for that 50 only. If you do more than 50, pay for that more than 50. If less than 50, you have to pay for that less than 50. The salary will not be uniform for all. Right? That is what he is telling. Paying per piece. Analyzing workflow and paying for the best practices. Next is the duties of management. So duties of management, what it means is managers need to be ensured his or her duties. That is what the responsibilities. What Henry Foyle talks is authority and responsibility, right? That responsibility has been given here under duties of management. So the work has to be allotted to the respective person that the responsibility comes to complete that work. So this is what gentleman F.W. Taylor talks about the scientific management. So determining the best way to do each job. Next is selecting a first class man to do each job. You have to pay according to the work what he has did. You have to assign duties. Then only the responsibility will come to complete the work. This is what the scientific management talks about. So next what we are going to see is the evolution of scientific management. How it has been came. So historical development of scientific management began with the brain work of Frederick W. Taylor during 1880s and 1890s from the doorstep of manufacturing industries. So industrial revolution happened in Western countries. All these theories have been emerged out during that period of time only. So scientific management was established as a theory of management which analyzed and synthesized workflows in organization and industries. Main objective of the management is improving economic efficiency, especially labor productivity by analyzing workflow process. The themes of scientific management include analysis, synthesis, logical explanation, rationality, work ethics, efficiency, and elimination of waste. So that is the main important tagline. I'll tell you the scientific management always talks about the task
ഒരു
which is
മീറ്റിംഗ്
assigned to an employee, how the task
ഒരു
has
മീറ്റിംഗിലാ
been
ഒരു
completed
മീറ്റിംഗിലടാ
by the employee. So by all these responsible positions if he is holding, it will eliminate wastage of resources. So this is what the scientific management talks about, right? So he also emphasizes on 5 important issues in scientific management. To emphasize organized knowledge rather than rely on rule of thumb. So without understanding what is going outside or without understanding what is the easiest way of completing the work, if you are having a rule, thumb rule, you have to work on that means it will create a problem. So next is the abstain harmony in group action. So the owner or employer and workers employee should have good relationship. You cannot divide them, you cannot restrict them, right? So they have to create good relationship among themselves to complete the work, and it will create a harmony in an organization. To achieve cooperation, so competition of work should be replaced by cooperation to feel the need of each other in the organization, right? So if you create competition, sometimes it will yield you good result. Most of the time it will create enmity among the employees. So what he thought is, instead of competition you have to create cooperation. That is what he is telling. So work for maximum output rather than restricted output. So you have to get best possible solutions. What he is telling, best possible way of doing the job. So by doing that you have to get best productivity. There will be no stoppages, there will be no cutoff point. So you have to work until your best comes out, right? That is what he is telling. Work for maximum output rather than restricted output. Efficiency of employee essentially encouraged and kept open without target. That is what he is trying to tell. So next is the develop the potential of the workers both for their self development and organizational prosperity. In essence, Taylor emphasized the following points to achieve organizational efficiency. To develop a scientific way of performing job. Train and develop the potential of the workers to perform the job. Establish harmonious relationship between management and workers. So what the things which I have shared in the scientific management that has been given here with three important points. So what it implies, so you have to develop a scientific way. Scientific way, what it means is process engineering, right? So process engineering, what it means, best possible way of doing a job with less resources that you have to develop in your organization. That is the idea of scientific management. And train and develop the potential of the workers to perform the job. You have to train and develop your employees to make their own potential. So you have to get out full potential out from them without any targets. To establish harmonious relationship between management and workers, among the workers also. So there will be a good relationship between the top level to the bottom level, all the levels of the organization. That is what the harmonious relationship, what he tells here. So again, here the basic ideas behind scientific management. The classical scientific school owes its roots to several major contributors, including F.W. Taylor, Henry Gunt. So there is a Gunt theory, right? We will see that. So Frederick Taylor, Henry Gunt, and Frank and Lillian Gilbreth. All these are the contributors to the classical approach, scientific approach, right? So these contributors and others developed the basic ideas regarding scientific management. So what is scientific management? If something came in your examination, what you have to write? You have to write about getting out the best possible way of doing the job. For that, you have to train and develop your employees to get their full potential and improve harmony in the organization. These 3 points, by having you can write a number of points, right? These contributors and others developed the basic ideas regarding scientific management. So, developing new standard methods for doing each job. So, how can you find out best possible way? It is not come from individual effort, right? So, you have to experiment that. You have to find out ways and means to do. See, mute your speaker. So, developing new standard methods for doing each job, selecting, training, and developing workers instead of allowing them to choose their own task and train themselves, developing a spirit of cooperation between workers and management to ensure that work is carried out in accordance with devised procedures. Right? That is what the objective of the organization. So, dividing work between workers and management in almost equal shares, with each group taking over the work for which it is best fitted. So, all these are the contributions not only from F.W. Taylor, it is from the Henry Gunt, Frank, and Lillian Gilbreth. So, all talks about how to complete the task efficiently and effectively. During that completion of task, how you have to create harmony and how you can develop your employees by giving trainings, right? Next, what we are going to see is all about techniques of scientific management. So, there are six important techniques of scientific management. It starts from functional foremanship technique, techniques of standardization of work. It is very important here. Standardization of work, techniques of simplification of work, conducting scientific study on work. So, differential wage, what we have seen, wage per piece, right? Mental revolution. So, all these are the techniques of scientific management. The theory of scientific management works on these principles. What we have seen in Henry File 14 principles, right? Likewise, here he is having six principles, or here it is said to be the techniques. So, the first technique, what it implies is functional foremanship technique. It is a method of dividing management in such a way that each employee shall have as much as possible functions to do. So, nothing but division of work. So, what Henry Foyle talks there is division of work, right? That is what the same thing here it is given, but on the functional area. The division of work here done based upon the functional area, right? Techniques of standardization of work. This is what the new thing, what scientific management gives to the entire world. Standardization of work. So it is applicable to employees planning of work to be done at the standardized way. On the basis of study, efforts are made to maintain standard at workplace. So how can we maintain the standard? By creating experimentation of doing the work best possible way. You have to select, you have to find out the first class men, the most eligible men to set into the position of the works. Then only there will be a standardized work will happen. So standardization. So techniques of simplification. This is what this method is used to effective economy and to bring down labor cost through specialization. First, you have to standardize the work, then you have to simplify the work. Right? Simplification, the process engineering, you have to eliminate tedious process to complete a task. You have to cut short the unwanted process into a task. So you have to straight away complete the work with needed task. That is what simplification of work implies here. This method is used to effective economy and to bring down labor cost through specialization. It helps affecting economy of use of machine and affecting economy in the staff, right? So most of the companies are firing their employees, right? They are removing their employees. Why they are doing that? So according to their profits, according to their demand, according to their future business plan, the needed, the much needed employees they are keeping, the unwanted or excess have been removed, right? That is what happening right now also. So conducting scientific study on work. So it is applied to study method, time taken, motion of workflow for minimizing cost and maximizing customer satisfaction. That is what it talks about conducting scientific study on work. Motion of workflow. So I have already told, right? So let us take from the point of human resources. Most of the time, the production department employees, the manufacturing side employees will move to some other departments for some other works. That has to be stopped. So whatever needed things, materials, that has to be given to them on their workplace. So they have not allowed outside to go and waste the time, right? It will increase the cost of employee productivity will be less. That is what here he says conducting scientific study on work. I'm giving this example with HR perspective. It will be applicable to all other management functions also. So differential wage or piece rate, this we have already seen, right? So it has to be given depends on the piece rate or it has to be given based upon the performance. That is what differential wage. It is not equal to all. If it is equal to all, you cannot find out any performers out of that group. So you have to differentiate or otherwise you have to give based upon the work what they have did, right? Applying this method, the rate of wage is commensurate on the basis of work done and not on the basis of time spent for the work, right? It has to be based upon the completed work, not based upon the time which has been spent on the work but not completed, right? So ultimately the output of the work will be taken to fixing of the wages, right? As a result of this, less efficient will be motivated to work more and efficient workers will be encouraged to maintain efficiency. If this will be given as a wage, it will impact two ways. So already the employee, those who are performing well, they can maintain their efficiency, and the low performers will be given low salary. They will be try to improve their efficiency. It will improve the overall productivity of the organization, right? So this is what differential wage or piece rate talks about. Next is the mental revolution. So this method is dealt with the change of mindset of both employer as well as employees. Feeling of cooperation, right? Harmony, what we have seen, right? The same thing here given it as mental revolution. So mental revolution, nothing but harmony between the employee as well as the employer, or the change of mindset for both the employer and the employees towards the cooperation, right? So the techniques what FW Taylor implies here is functional foremanship technique. So functional foremanship is nothing but division of work. Techniques of standardization of work, you have to standardize the work. Techniques of simplification, you have to simplify the process of work. So all these have been done by based upon the scientific study, right? So you have to pay according to the job, according to the outputs, and you have to create mental revolution among employer as well as the employee to create more cooperation. This is what the six techniques of scientific management talks about. So next, what we are going to see is the advantages of scientific management. There is a harmonic relationship between owners and workers in the organization or industries which lead increasing efficiency. So harmony will be increased. If these six techniques have been adopted in any of the organization, what F.W. Taylor believes is it will increase the harmony between the employer and the employee. And the selection is based upon the scientific way. So scientific what it implies, you have to select best out of the group, right? The first class men, what he means is best person, suited person, best possible suited person you have to select for the job. So by using this scientific management techniques, you can select scientific way of recruiting the workforce. So again, the advantage is there is an opportunities of scientific training and orientation for employees which help to enhance knowledge, skills, and competence. Yes. So next is the higher wages paid to those having higher productivities. Scientific methods and techniques in better working conditions helps to eliminate waste or fatigue. Mute your mics, please.
Sir, we can't see your screen, sir.
See, I'm using mobile phone, ma. Next class onwards, I will use tab.
Your
Sorry,
screen is viewable.
desktop.
It is
Yes,
viewing, sir.
yes.
We-
We can see.
You are able to see, right?
Yes, Yeah, yes, we we are are able to able. see. We
Okay,
are able
thank
to
you.
see.
So thank you, thank
It's
you.
clear,
Please
but
continue.
clear now, sir. Not clear.
So clear to see.
Yes. So next is the disadvantages of using scientific management. Scientific management is very much important topic, ma. So it comes under classical theory. That is what I am taking it elaborately, right? So scientific management has some limitations, disadvantages. So we are going to see that it gives emphasis on individual performance rather than group efforts. So wage based upon peace, right? So everybody will compete on their own to complete the task and increase their productivity, right? So there will be no cooperation among the employees. If there will be cooperation among employees, then what it makes? Competition, right? So here he will not talks about the competition. So it gives emphasis on individual performance rather than group efforts. So whenever you are fixing a salary based upon the productivity what the employees giving for an organization, then there will be no cooperation among the employees will be there. There will be no group efforts will be there. So individual efforts will be more. So it has made division of employees as efficient and non-efficient categories. So that is the another problem. If you divide the employees among performers and non-performers, it will not motivate the non-performers mostly to come out to become a performer, right? It will create enmity among the employees. So it gives thrust on specialization and repetition of work to increase productivity. So the right person to the right job, what it talks about, the right person to the right job, that will create more repetitive works rather than change of works, right? So only concentrates on productivity, so which create monotony and restrict innovation. So it will be like the machine who is doing the same job n number of times, right? So that kind of employees if you are having, they will not innovate, they will not change. They will not think outside world or out of box, right? So that is the another disadvantage of the scientific management, and it neglects human factor as it encourages work for money than work as human resources. So if you fix your wage based upon somebody is unmuted their mic, please mute. So it neglects human factor as it encourages work for money than work as human resources. If you are paying based upon the productivity of individual, so they will be working like a machine. At a certain point of time, they cannot improve their efficiency and they will be getting some mental problems also, right? So that will create a problem. You have to give respect. You have to give, or you have to think about the human factors. You cannot always think on the ground of productivity only. So productivity has been done by the humans only. So there will be some concerns regarding the humans have to be there, but it is not there in F.W. Taylor's scientific management. He always thinks about the productivity, how to attain the highest productivity. That is the main motto of F.W. Taylor's scientific management. So there is limited chance to creativity among employees as they are guided by managers and resulting to frustrations. That is what I am telling, that mental problems. So if it goes on getting the direction from the managers and doing the same job, every time you have to apply the work study flow, you have to increase the efficiency, you have to increase the productivity, means that will create frustration for the employees. So all these are the disadvantages which is attached with scientific management. Somebody has unmuted your mic, please mute, don't disturb the class. So major areas of scientific management practice. So there are three main areas of scientific management practice which include task performance, supervision, motivation. So all the scientific management you can put into these three major areas. That is, it is based upon the task, it is based upon the supervision, and it is based upon the motivation. So related to hiring right workers for each job, train them to maintain efficiency, and monitoring their performance by the management, that comes under task performance. So right person, right job, it will improve the efficiency, that has to be maintained and monitored by the supervisor. Next is the supervision, related to use of scientific method to study work and determine the most efficient way to perform scientific tasks, monitor and provide instructions. So that is what the supervisor job here. So you have to find out best possible way of doing a job, right? So is there any problem arises, you have to solve that, and you have to monitor and provide instructions to your employees. Next is the motivation. Taylor gave thrust on finding the most efficient way of performing any job. Workers were motivated only by money. So here the motivation factor is always money, right? So the pay depends on the productivity. So the motivation only here according to F.W. Taylor is money. Most of the cases that is true also. If you are paying based upon the work, they will be work more to get more money, right? That is what he thinks. So that is the reason for his theory is referred to as the money as a motivator theory. So these are all the different areas what scientific management concentrates to increase productivity, right? Task performance, supervision, and motivation. So next what we are going to see is the evolution of management thoughts. So what are all the different perspectives which is available on different eras, right? So evolution of management thoughts in different perspectives. During 1875 to 1900, classical perspective, what we have seen till now is based upon that classical perspective, scientific management. 1900 to 1925, behavioral. So here the human factor has been taken into account. Behavioral attitudes, right, that has been taken care during 1900 and 1925. During 1925 to 1950, quantitative perspective. So it judges the quality of decisions taken by the decision makers, right, by using the mathematical and statistical methods. During 1950s and 1975, here it comes as system perspectives. So after technological innovations, most of the system oriented, all this what we have seen in the theories have been brought into the systems. That is what here it talks about systems perspective. Given thrust on understanding the organization as system that transforms inputs into output while in constant interaction with its environment. So systematic approach, it comes as a systematic, right? So 1975 to 2000, contingency perspective. So thrust on applying management principles and processes dictated by the unique characteristics of each situation. So you cannot put all these theories into the practical day-to-day activities of an organization. So you have to take it on the situation. Whenever there is sometimes there might be a new situation arises, right? So economic crisis 2008. So most of the industries are suffering. The reason might be outside of the organization. So corona came. All this you cannot rely on the theories of management perspectives, right? So situation differs. So these are all the some of the, and after 2000 it is contemporary, right? These are all the some of the perspectives which has been emerged out. These are all the evolutions of management theories. So remaining things we will be discussing on the coming classes. So let me stop here and thank you. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now, or otherwise we'll close down our session. Yes, somebody has asked something.
Sir, I have
Can you
doubt.
share the current syllabus, sir, of the 7 subject?
I'll send it. Right.
Sir, can you share this PDF now, sir, in the comment box?
Now itself, Amma.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
share.
For
I will
both
share. I will
syllabus
share.
also, it will be easy, sir, for us to
Okay.
refer.
Okay. What I am telling here is, according to your syllabus, let me cut short my PPTs and share with you. That will be very beneficial for your examination purpose. If you go through all my slides, it will be difficult for you to understand, or it will have more other than your examination point of view.
Okay, sir.
Most of you are working, right? So reading all this is difficult. You give me one day time tomorrow. I'll make it compact and share with you all, right?
Sir, what
Okay,
about
sir.
the syllabus, sir? Can you share that now?
Syllabus I will ask with the administration people and I will let you know if possible by today or tomorrow. Yes,
Sir, if the slides it could be shared today, then it will be helpful for the
I'm not
entire week.
able to hear you. Somebody, yes, yes.
Sir, if the slides shared today itself, so it would be helpful in revision.
That is what I'm telling. I'll share you the slides. Once I'll cut short some of the extensive things which is there in my the slides. It will be beneficial for you. Or otherwise I'll share. If you want, I'll share. No problem for me.
So it will be okay if you share.
Okay. Where I have to
Sir,
share?
share
Sir,
full
please cut short it
PDF
now.
and kindly please attach important, na? Mark as
Yeah,
important. Then we will refer only this. but we have
For
another
that better,
full
I
PDF
will
also
share
with
the
us.
important things itself, right? That will be useful for you. That is what I am telling. Give me a day time. I'll cut short and share with you all.
Yes, sir, no problem.
So, yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Please cut short and
Yes,
share.
sir, no
Yes.
problem, sir.
So I think next class professors have came. We'll meet next class. Thank you all.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
sir, I have a doubt.
Thank you, sir.
You will share in the email or WhatsApp?